I'm kind of not really loving this new piece of information, to be honest. I'm kind of wanting to say, no, that's not my District 4, but right. I don't know if I have the right to do that because it's not my decision. So, I don't know.
Well,
is my conflicted feelings, are you feeling any of that, Savanna?
I'm feeling a little conflicted, but after mulling it over some, I'm feeling less conflicted. Let's tell everyone where District 4 is. How would you describe that area, Adam?
I would describe it as what I thought was kind of the Gulf Coast, Louisiana Bayou type of place. But in Texas, but that's not it. So
yeah, where is it?
It is in the Pacific Northwest, right?
Yes. If you don't play Hunger Games Adventures, we have a little screenshot on the promo for tonight's episode. So just go there and you can see a screenshot. It's in, I guess, the former Pacific Northwest because clearly things have shifted and fallen apart. But Rebekah, as someone who is a born and bred Pacific Northwesterner, how did you first react when you learned this news?
It makes sense to me because I'm looking at what's happened to the North American continent and going, oh, well, yeah, majority of where on this map that District 4 has taken up is the climate area that is described in the book. Now, I know everyone thinks of the Pacific Northwest as, rainforest and always like that, but the rainforest portion of the Pacific Northwest is west of the Cascade Mountain, and east of the Cascade Mountain is high desert, shrubby brush, sagebrush, scraggly trees. It's high desert, and California, I know it's known for palm trees and whatnot, but palm trees aren't even native to California. They're transplants that were brought over probably from the West Indies and the South Pacific. So
yeah.
them being in California, or what's left of California, and then up into what's left of the Pacific Northwest makes sense because people bring what's familiar with them. They'll bring the seedlings of what they know, and that would be palm trees, which is what we're looking at in this lovely little map thingy. So, yeah, what's left of the Pacific Northwest that we know now, which is in the popular consciousness, is not what is the Pacific Northwest or this fictionalized North America. So, yeah, just fine. I'm good with it. I like that Finnick is from where I'm from.
I know, isn't that exciting?
It makes me feel a little bit special.
Yeah, I don't know. I was a little shocked when I saw where it was because I never would have guessed that it would be up there. I was certain that it was located in Mexico because one of the districts that's marked on the map is basically Mexico. And I was, I was just thinking that has to be District 4 because, District 4 seems, Finnick is very tan, and I always got the impression that it was more of a tropical sort of fishing locale, and up in the Pacific Northwest, obviously there's a big fishing industry up there, but it's, colder water. People wear big, rain like those big, what I'm talking about, like those rubber, galoshes and those big jackets and stuff. But, based on the pictures in the game, there are palm trees there. So obviously, like Rebekah was saying, there's been a huge shift in climate and in geography. So it makes sense. Let's see. Crystal, how about you? Were you shocked when this was revealed last week?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I always thought that, that's the rainy part of the country, and so it'll be rainy in Panem as well. I thought that's where District 7 was.
Yeah.
And I thought the area right below it is actually where 4 was going to be, like the one next to 2. Like, that's where I thought it was going to be. So, yeah, I was very surprised.
I'm left wondering what will be in Mexico, because I think that 7, if you look at the map, there's a district above District 4. I feel like that has to be 7, just because of all of the forests that are up in Canada right now in that area. But I can't imagine what will be down in Mexico. I guess we'll find out. Theresa,
and where do you think 13 is going to be? Do you think 13 is going to be Mexico, or is it going to be in the north?
I think it has to be. It has to be in the northeast, just because you can walk there from 12. So, and that area has a history of nuclear stuff, and I don't know about graphite. If there's anyway, I need to brush up on my Panamanian industries. Theresa, how do you feel about District 4 being in the Pacific Northwest?
Well, it's definitely not where I thought it was going to be. So, I guess got used to you when you were talking about it, saying that it was down, towards Mexico and stuff. I think I just got used to that and going, okay, yeah, that's where it's got to be, because it made sense. For the size of it and the locale. I think, if anything, I guess it's more that, I'm like, okay, so they put it in the Pacific Northwest. I think the first thing when I saw the picture was there's palm trees. I'm just, I guess, not thinking of climate change and anything else that goes on up there in California being mostly gone, and it's just not what you would picture. But my thing is, I keep trying to figure out, in Catching Fire, when Katniss says they do the victory tour in reverse order, with 12, of course, being last, but they work their way to the Capitol and then go back to 12. And so I'm wondering if that has any play in the placement of the districts and where they're located, because trying to figure out, as far as how they're doing this on the map and picturing the train going by, the districts and what would be most convenient for them, because you wouldn't want to, if you're doing it in reverse order, you don't necessarily want to crisscross the country again. I know that train goes fast, but crisscross the country again to get you to your next stop and then crisscross back. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not, but it's close enough to the Capitol and 2 that it kind of fits along that while it's over here. So I'm wondering if in some way we're going to find that the lower number districts are in the west and the higher number districts are in the east. And if that kind of looks like,
that looks like what they might be doing. I guess it's annoying to have to wait for each area to be unlocked, but we must do what we must do. So, and be sure to, if you're listening to this and thinking, what, there's an official map, huh? What are you talking about? Go sign up to play the Hunger Games Adventures, because that's where all of this is being revealed. So, Natalie, I know that you have looked at a lot of maps of Panem. Do you feel like this is a good location for District 4? Does it seem logical to you?
Not entirely, no. I had sort of the same reaction a lot of other people had. I was definitely one of those people who saw it was in Mexico, or at least, I guess I sort of figured a Baja California / Mexico area, very south. And yeah, and looking at the map, I grew up in Northern California, and so there's some stuff that, in terms of weather and stuff, that makes sense, when we talk about, the palm trees are everywhere. You can plant them basically anywhere, and, it doesn't have to be necessarily uber warm. California has warm weather, but, Marin County, where I grew up, is, with the fog and the water, very cold. And so that was the other thing that threw me off, is, when I think of, District 4 as a very fishing-centric district, I imagine people, like Finnick, just out in the water all the time and, wearing nearly nothing, being very used to it. And Northern California is freezing. I had to tell people that I don't think I've ever swum in the Pacific, maybe a handful of times in a bathing suit. It's freezing. So I feel like there'd have to be some really crazy climate change for it to be that northwest section and for it to be, I don't know, it doesn't really match up. It just seems too cold in my mind. So that definitely threw me off.
You know, talking about cold and ocean swimming made me think that, Forks, Washington is in District 4.
Oh, my gosh, Crystal. Oh, that just reminds me. Someone tweeted us something really funny, and I can't remember what it was. But they said, I don't remember who it was or what it was exactly, but they said something like maybe Finnick is like, or maybe like Jacob Black is like a great something of Finnick. I wish I could find this tweet, but it was very funny.
I remember seeing that. Something like that all of District 4 is descended from Jacob Black and the Quileute tribe or something like that.
Yes. I wonder who, if you're listening and you're the person that sent that tweet, find it and share it with us again, because it was really funny. I think it would be really interesting. I might actually do this tonight if I'm bored, but I think it would be interesting to look at a bunch of research that sort of forecasts what might happen to the Earth, in 100, 200 years. Adam, did you have any other thoughts about this?
I want to know, is Suzanne Collins at all behind this Hunger Games Adventures map? Because it almost seems to me like it's some people who are designing this game who just went off on their own accord and just started putting things on the map. Because I just can't imagine that this is the real map. It doesn't fit for me in the course of the story. In my head, I think I'm going to continue to rely on maps like these map, or even some of the other ones that really take into account climate and location. And so I don't know. I'm not trying to tell anybody not to use this, but to me, this district where we think District 4 is now, that to me was absolutely District 7. That was cutting down timber and forests. And, that Mexico area was District 4, and I can't have it any other way. I'm sorry that I'm going to be a conscientious objector to this district. Nobody get upset with me about that. I'm not trying to discourage anyone from buying into this. I don't know. I want to hear an official statement from Suzanne Collins that that's where District 4 is before I believe it. Is that fair? Because I think if she said it, then I'm on board.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. We know that she has been involved with the game. We learned that early on, that she was working with the game creators to develop it. But I don't know what her level of involvement was or is exactly with the game or with the map. So it would be really nice to get some sort of a statement from either her or Lionsgate about what her role was in the map. But I don't know, Adam, you have to remember that there is a region or a district above the Pacific Northwest that's in Canada. So that really makes sense for District 7.
So that right. And I assume that, but see, we assume that, but now I honestly don't even know, because I feel like every new reveal is like shock value. And they're trying to get you to say, oh, of course I thought this district was there. Surprise, it's somewhere else. That's what I feel like is happening now. And that's what's throwing me off. I do want to read a tweet that comes from Philip, our good friend, Phillips Hunter on Twitter, Hunter as he often goes by. And I think this says it all for me. I'm the District 4 mayor, which he is, and no one told me this. I thought I was always living in the Gulf Coast. Sheesh. So if the own mayor of District 4 didn't think he was there, I don't know if I can go by what this is saying. And honestly, and I'm not trying to say this to be critical. I think the game is excellent. I think it's a wonderful thing that they've done. But this map, I mean, come on. I really don't think this map was very well put together. Even just the way that the borders are done. What is with this kind of cartoonish, thick lines that are separating one from the next, to the point where there's an entire, if you look between, for instance, Districts 11 and 12 on the coast, you're looking at miles and miles of coastline that are sort of weirdly roped off. And I know this could be space between where there are arenas and all these other things, but this seems more like a kid's cartoonish version of what the districts might be, rather than an intelligently constructed cartography experiment. So that's my take.
I mean, keep in mind that this is for a game, so they had to make it look appealing. But I think that those spaces, that's like wilderness. You know, they don't want the districts right up against each other. They need to have that space in between them to discourage people from district hopping. Plus, actually, like you mentioned, I think that could be a great explanation for the arena locations. Maybe the arenas are all located in those, you know, in the wilds between each district.